So I better start this video with a disclaimer. These are just my own personal thoughts. You've got to do your own research, and this video is simply for entertainment purposes only. So what am I doing? Well, I'm training the electromagnetic system in my body. And how am I doing that? Well, I'm doing that through tension and relaxation. You see, the muscles require electricity. When you tense the muscle, electricity goes there to provide that tension. And we know this, we can see this with these abdominal trainers. You stick them on your belly, they've got a battery in. When you turn them on, they give you a little electric shock. And this electric shock tenses up your abdominal muscles and trains them for you. So you can do 1,000 sit-ups without really expending any energy at all. The energy has come from the battery in the machine, and that battery has directly tensed up the muscle to train it for you. So I'm doing this simply all by myself. I'm activating the muscles and tendons throughout the whole body, and I'm focusing particularly on the joints and trying to keep a good alignment in my body, because a good alignment allows this electricity to flow better. I want to flow the electricity, but I'm practicing turning it off and on. When there is relaxation, the electricity is off, and when there is tension, the electricity is on. So this is body efficiency training, and I want to start talking about the electromagnetic system in our body. Okay, so the body is electrical, and we know this because we have a nervous system. And here's the brain, and the nervous system runs down from the brain. And the nervous system is like wires. That electricity can run through these wires and send signals. So the brain sends signals down through the nervous system, which is electrical. So we know that. But there's more than just the nervous system. There's also the fascia. So the fascia is like a membrane around the muscles, and it holds all the muscles together, and there's fascia around the organs as well. And this is also able to transmit electricity, build up a static charge. And I'm going to talk a lot about fascia in time. But there's essentially 3 layers to the fascia. There's 3 layers, and these layers can move independently from each other. So if you can imagine the layers of fascia moving against each other, this creates friction, and friction creates static charge. So moving around, especially if you know how to move around to activate the fascia, you're going to be generating electricity, generating a static charge, building the energy in your body. But now let's have a look at the nervous system. So let's go back. So we have the nervous system wires, and we have the fascia, which is everywhere. So our whole body can essentially transmit electricity through it. Now, what's interesting is the brain sends a signal down the nerve. So here's the brain, sends a signal down the nerve to the muscle here in the arm. So this is the bicep muscle. So the brain sends a signal down to activate the bicep muscle. Now the bicep muscle needs electricity to activate. You see, the electricity powers the muscles. So it needs a certain amount of electricity to actually activate the muscle. Now, does the brain send that much electricity down? No, the brain only sends a signal down to the muscle to say, hey, activate now. But that muscle needs quite a lot of electricity to power it. So where does that come from? Well, it comes from our battery. We have a battery here in the belly, and this is a storage of electricity. So we have a place where the electricity is stored in our body, and we'll come to that in a moment, but that's the intestines. The intestines behave like a battery. So you can imagine here we have a storage of electricity. The brain sends a signal to the bicep to activate, but it also got to send a signal down to the battery to get the power. And then the battery power has to come up and go to the muscle. So it needs a lot more electricity than the brain can send it. So it comes from here, the battery. So there's a lot going on. And this is how the electrical system in the body works. Now we can learn to control this, because essentially tension is the electricity on, and relaxation is the electricity off. So when this muscle relaxes, the brain says let go, so the electricity is no longer needed. It will go back to the battery or dissipate, whatever, but this muscle here then goes relaxed, no electricity running to it. So we can control the electricity in our body through tension and relaxation, and that's what I'm doing here in body efficiency training. Now it's interesting to note, so the battery is here, and in the Eastern philosophies, this is a very important area. In the Tao and Qigong Tai Chi, this is called the Dantian, but of course it's called the Hara in Japan, and in the chakra systems of India, this is important, this area. But scientifically, the intestines is made of layers. The cell membranes, or the layers that make up the intestines, act like a capacitor. So this thing can actually store electrical charge. It's designed like a battery. This whole big coiled up intestine is a battery. And furthermore, we also have the kidneys. The kidneys here also behave like batteries, and they behave like generators, which we'll talk about in a moment. So this area, the intestine, is the battery, and we want to build up this battery, collect an electrical charge and store it in the battery here, so we have plenty of energy to move our muscles and do what we need to do. Now, interesting enough, the brain also needs it. The brain takes a lot of energy. Thinking does a lot. It's a lot of work thinking, so there's got to be a good connection between the brain and the belly, because there's got to be a lot of electricity passing between these two. And you'll see a lot of the exercises that I'm doing are to connect the brain and the belly together, and also to flow electricity and energy through the body. So we've talked about the battery. The battery is down here in the belly, and the kidneys are also very closely connected to that. These behave like batteries, and this is the adrenal gland on the top. So the kidney combined with the adrenal gland behaves like an energy generator, and we're going to talk about that more in time. But these connect very much to the belly here and help to build up the whole electricity, the electrical charge in the body. So we need the electrical charge, but there's also a magnetic charge, a magnetic field. We also have magnetism in the body, and in fact you can't really have one without the other. And the center of magnetism is the heart. So this is the magnetic field we have in the body. And the heart has got a very strong magnetic field, and you can measure it. This is scientifically proven. The heart's magnetic field can be measured out to about 6 feet. 6 feet away. You can measure that with a detector, the magnetic field of the heart. So the heart is the center of the magnetic field in your body, and the kidneys and the belly are the center of the electrical field, or the electrical charge in the body. And the brain, of course, is something different, but this connects the three things together. The brain, the heart, and the belly all connect together. This connects also out to the cosmos. This is how we use in the brain to collect more energy, because the brain is controlling all this, and we are controlling the brain. We'll talk more about that in time. Now, let's talk about the heart. The heart is very interesting. First of all, the heart, we've been told the heart is a pump. But the heart is not a pump. It doesn't pump the blood at all. It's more like a pressure regulator. And I'll leave the link below to a very good video, a doctor who talks about why the heart is not a pump. There's many good reasons why it's not. But the simplest and most obvious reason why the heart is not a pump is because when the blood goes into the heart, it goes in at a certain speed, x, and when it comes out of the heart, it goes out at a very similar speed, x. There's no increase in speed as it goes through the heart, so it's not really pumping. And what happens is when the blood goes away from the heart, it goes out through all the veins and arteries, and it goes right out to the extremities and the tiny little capillaries, and it slows down. It gets slower, 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 and it stops. At the end here, the blood has actually stopped right out in the capillaries. So we're at the point it's stopped. Now we need a pump, but there's no pump out here. So somehow the blood starts moving again. Very slowly it goes into so it comes down the arteries, it goes back through the veins, it starts to move, slowly all these capillaries come together and the blood collects into bigger and bigger veins and slowly speeds up and goes back to the heart. So that it's travelling at a higher speed here and it stops down here. So this is doing nothing to pump the blood. So the heart is not a pump, but what is it? Well, one, it is a pressure regulator. It will help to regulate the pressure, but this is an electromagnet. So again, I haven't heard anyone else say this, so as far as I know, I'm the only one saying this is my theory, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. The heart is an electromagnet, and its function is to magnetize the blood. So when the blood goes through the heart, not only is it oxygenated by the lungs, but it is magnetized by the heart. And the heart muscle, well, let's have a look at an electromagnet. An electromagnet is a coil of wire. If you have a wire coiled up like this and you run a current through this wire, you create a magnetic field. So this is an electromagnet. Now the heart muscle, if you take the heart and you unwrap it, open it up, you can research this, it's like one big muscle sort of coiled up on itself. It's like a figure of eight or a coil all twisted up, tightened up. So this is a sort of very complex, slightly more complex version of this. So when the blood runs through the muscle to pump the heart, Blood is moving through this coil, and the blood, of course, is carrying an electric charge, which we'll talk about. The blood needs to carry an electric charge. Oxygenated blood needs ions. The ions are the electric charge in the air, so we need the ions to come into us. This oxygenates and charges the blood. So this runs an electric current through the heart, which creates a magnetic field. So the heart has got a very strong magnetic field just by pumping it. And then the other blood that passes through the heart, this is a different set of blood. So some blood runs the heart, some blood passes through. So when blood enters the heart here, it passes through a very strong electromagnet and it comes out the other side magnetized. So now we've got magnetic. The blood has got some magnetism to it. So we need both electricity and magnetism in our body. These two things work together. And this is why we need iron in the blood. You see, we need iron in. We need negative ions. So these come in the air. That's what we breathe. But we also need iron in the blood. You see, iron in the blood will hold the magnetism. We need something to magnetize. So the iron in the blood will hold the magnetism. So we need, which comes to diet, which we'll talk about in time. But we need a particular type of iron in the blood. We need heme iron. It's called heme iron. So you can research that if you're interested. But what I want to talk about today is simply this. The heart is a magnet. So this controls the magnetic field in your body. And the belly here, the kidneys, are a battery. So this creates the electric charge in your body. And this is the electromagnetic system of the body that is, together with the brain, which creates this, which controls these things, creates all the other functions in the body. And there is a flow of electricity. So the main thing is there's a main flow of electricity that goes up and over like this around your body. And in Qigong and the Tao, this is called the small circulation, or Muntak Chia, you can look him up. He calls this the microcosmic orbit. And this is where I talk about the tongue touching the roof of the mouth and the pelvic floor. These two areas help to complete this circuit. And this circuit around the body is like a safety valve for the electricity. When you build up a lot of charge, you can circulate it around here, and store it here. And this creates a healthy flow of energy, and you can handle much more energy in your body. And this is also how you can handle excess energy. So we've got a lot of electromagnetic radiation bombarding us all the time, different things coming in, but this practice can help harmonize all the so-called negative electromagnetic frequencies coming towards us. Okay, I'm going to be talking more and more about this in time because this is only an introduction to it, and electricity of course has frequencies, it has rhythms. This is simply a one straight current going round, but there are lots of different currents doing lots of different things and pulsing and moving. And when I do this dancing around training, I'm trying to feel these different movements, these different sensations of electricity in my body. And here I'm doing a dramatic practice. I'm trying to go to total relaxation and just collapse. So I've got all the muscles on and I turn them all off and just collapse down. And I've got to do this very carefully so I don't hurt myself. So I'm controlling the fall as little as possible. I'm trying to go straight to all the tension is on to all the tension is off, and then all the tension comes on again. So I'm switching the electricity off and on in my whole body and trying to feel that sensation, feel what it's like. So we need to practice relaxation, deep relaxation, and it's not that easy. We always have a bit of residual tension in the body. So whenever you lie down, practice some deep relaxation, try and feel what that is like. And then also you practice high tension, so you also know what that's like, and then you know in your body what each one feels like, and you can play with that, you can move around, and this is a secret to efficiency. So now I'm just doing a bit of martial arts here, trying to feel the optimum alignment from the neutral stance, which there's some other videos on that you can check out. But what I'm doing is finding the most efficient positions of my body so that I can feel this flow of electricity and it happens efficiently. And this is the key. If we can build up our electrical charge, our energy in our body, this sets us up for a greater ability to rejuvenate and do all the things that we need to do. Okay, I hope this made sense. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.